Hi, I guess it's Friday again. Time for another little clip like this. Today I'm going to talk about the root chakra. I was referring last week that we were going to talk about the root chakra, and I've been thinking, what am I going to say? I know that the higher consciousness that we refer to as Mr. Universe will be joining us next week in talking about the root chakra, and he will also present meditation to help us work on the root chakra. So why is the root chakra so important to work with? I mean, most of us don't like being there because that's where all the nasty stuff is. Our biggest fears, traumas, stuff that we really don't like to be aware that we are carrying around. Also, the root chakra is where we keep our self-esteem. And I always say that low self-esteem is one of the bigger diseases we have in the world, or biggest imbalances that we have in the world. Most of us have it more or less, me included, even though I'm working on it. So most of us who seek a spiritual path prefer being in the head, or prefer being in the higher chakras, because we think that's where we need to be spiritual. And yes, I'm not saying that you're wrong, because I know the spiritual experience you can have from being up there. But the problem is, if you don't work from the root chakra upwards, every chakra from the root upwards is there to support the next, the next, the next, the next, the next, and the next. So what happens if we don't have a root? Well, if I was a plant, I would die. It's as easy as that. And if I don't make sure that my root chakra is in balance, what will happen? Well, I guess one thing that will happen is that I will be ruled by my ego, because that's where my ego is. Now we have a good ego and we have a negative ego. The good ego is what I talked about last week. It's the inner child, the one who is always trying to do what is best for us, best for me, like any other child. The bad part is the, in Sweden we would call it curling mom, which is the one who is saying like, oh, be careful when you walk across the street, you're only 40. I must go with you to make sure that nothing bad happens to you. That type of mom. That type of ego. The one that's afraid of everything. They don't want you to go through anything that is anything to do with taking a chance, taking a risk. No risks, no chance whatsoever. You gotta play it safe. That's what that ego says. It's also the ego says that you're worth nothing. It's also the ego that says you're never going to achieve that. You're never going to get that. No, you're too bad. You've done too many bad things in your life and you're not good enough. That's also the negative ego. And it's in the root where your low self-esteem is. Guess where that comes from, hey? So I guess that many of us, even though we have a brilliant spiritual life being up here, on and off we can feel that our ego is taking over. Well, it's like if we build a pyramid like this, how easy would it be to keep it in balance? Not that easy. It would tip over. So we need to work from the root upwards. That way we can build higher and we can make ourselves more stable. It is not pleasant to go through the root chakra, but once we get through it, we will feel so much stronger, so much more empowered. It's not that we're not going to hear the ego anymore. It's just not going to rule over us in the way it does now. Now, as I said, I mean that me too. I'm also not really fully past the root chakra yet, I think. I'm working on it. And one of the ways of working on it is that when your root chakra gets going, when it starts to yap, 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 yap about all the negative stuff, you don't need to go in there. You don't need to think that this is me. This is me talking. Because it's not. It's just your ego. And your ego is put there because that's a part of what makes you human. If we didn't have an ego, it would be too easy. Or at least that's what these higher consciousnesses told me. And I believe them because without an ego, the world would be a better place and we would all live in harmony, and it wouldn't be as much of a school and as much lessons as it is with the ego. But for us who strive to go higher and to free ourselves as much as possible from the negative ego, we need to work out a strategy. Okay? Because most of us have not been taught how to handle life as humans. And Mr. Universe, he has said that there is a book that we are going to write. A handbook for being human, I guess you could call it. And as you know by now, I do not like writing. But as he says, there is a book that needs to be written, at least one. I guess I have to oblige. And it's going to be a pleasure and a very wonderful journey eventually, I guess. But to get back to the root chakra and to get back to the ego, how do I handle this? Well, instead of going in and making what the ego yells about your reality, watch it from outside instead. See it as that screaming child who wants your attention and who says all these bad stuff. That's not me. And all I need to do to handle it is just observe. Observe. Just look at it and just think, okay, I hear what you're saying. It's not me, it's just my ego going on. This is not me, this is not who I am. And you can also teach your ego, if you're willing to work on it, to stop saying all this negative stuff about you. It does it because it's never been taught how to express itself towards you. Just like a child. Children learn by age and by being taught how to respond to people, how to talk to people to get what they want or make what they want known to people. Okay, so what you can tell the ego if you think it's going on with too much negativity and it's not constructive. Tell it, I know that you want my attention. I know you're working very hard to get my attention. But if you want my attention, if you really want my attention, you need to start saying nice things. Constructive things. Okay, you need to say stuff that I can work with. If there is an issue, if you think that I've done something wrong or you think that this might not work or whatsoever, you need to give me something positive. Because unless you give me something positive, I'm not interested in listening to you. And now I know how to not listen to you. Because I know that when you start yapping, it's not me. And if it's not me and it's negative, I don't want to hear about it. I've done this for a while now. And my ego has become much more silent. It doesn't yap as much as it used to be. And when it does, and I observe it, it goes quite a lot faster. I'm not saying I've mastered it yet, and I'm not saying I'm starting to hear positive things from my ego yet. Well, one or two things perhaps, but not fully. At least I don't have to hear the negative yapping going on, yapping constantly. There's been too much of that in the past, and I think that enough is enough, for me anyway. So that's something you can work on. Next week, as I said, at 4 p.m. Central European Time, Mr. Universe is gonna go on a little bit about, fill in more about the root chakra, the importance of it, and also give us a meditation so that we can work on it. And if you need more help, more assistance with working with your root chakra or any other things, you know where to find us. You can always visit our homepage, which is my name, www.marcusgardbach.com. And you can find us there, or you can contact me through here, through Facebook. Also, if there's anything else you want to know about the root chakra that you think that I missed, be my guest and ask me, and I will try to fill it in next week. Where was I? There was another thing I was thinking about. Oh yeah. When it comes to all these clips, I want you to just take in what feels right for you, what feels true to you. Because if it doesn't feel true to you, just ignore it, because it isn't your truth. At least not now. Could have been in the past, can be in the future, but it's not right for you right now. What feels right, absorb it. Take it in, use it. It's from our hearts to you guys. And if it feels true, use it. If it doesn't, ignore it. And listen next week and see if we come up with something better. Okay? Always follow what feels true to you. Remember that. That's also a part of the root chakra, and I guess every other chakra as well. We will get into that more when we come to the heart chakra. Well, as we're closing in on 4:15, this is a long clip, and we have a lot of wonderful adventures ahead of us. We are going up through the chakras. I'm not going to say much more now. I wish you a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week, and I hope to see you next Friday for another one of these episodes. In the meantime, take care now. Ta-ta for now. Bye.